Patrick's in Sacramento. He said, was Kirby Smart excuse making when he was talking about the Big Ten success, or are you buying his theories? True story. I was on Next Round Live this morning, which emanates out of Birmingham, Alabama. Good friends of the program there hosting that program, and I was doing a pre-scheduled live hit with them, and they said, what are your thoughts on what Kirby said on this show earlier today? And I said, well, what did he say? So I was in the unenviable position of reacting to sound bites in real time. You may be wondering, okay, well, what did he say? Good news for you. We have gotten access to the footage because I told them on the show. We're going to play it later tonight on my show. So Kirby is being asked by Jim Dunaway and Ryan Brown there at a golf tournament, I think in Birmingham, about the Big Ten and how it surpassed the SEC. And everybody's got a theory. Everybody's got an explanation. Is it just one thing? Is it a bunch of different things? So Kirby said two different things that I thought were really interesting. And the thing about Kirby is when you get him in these settings, and we've done it with him several times, when you get Kirby Smart in these settings, in these long-form interviews, he is brutally honest. He's got nothing to lose. He is very forthright in opinion. It's always well thought out. You can tell that he's not really thinking on the fly, which makes this unique because it was almost like a stream of consciousness for him. It was almost like someone had presented a question or a topic and you got to watch him thinking stuff through just the way a normal person would. All right, so this is from Next Round Live earlier this morning. The first bit is when he was asked about the Big Ten and how they've done what they've done. Roll it, Bradley.
I can't figure out what it is. I just think they have a more competitive conference, like the top of their conference. There's more good teams. It used to be Ohio State was good.
Yeah.
You know, like Michigan was really good. When Harbaugh had a great team, Indiana's good. Like now they got Oregon. They got a draw. They have an ability to attract good players. Now NIL has a factor too, for sure. But so does Miami. I mean, so does Florida. I mean, people have money. More people have money.
That's right.
So I think the talent is spread out thin. Where before in the SEC, it was a magnet to talent.
Okay, so the thing he's pointing out there is what everyone goes to. Pretty much everyone goes to NIL. Pretty much everyone's working theory always centers around, it used to be that just the SEC paid a bunch of money under the table for players. Now that it's legal for everyone to pay it, there is an area like the Big Ten, which probably has more cash-rich institutions than the SEC does on average. So now the games, the sport's in their wheelhouse. Okay, so just in theory from 50,000 feet, it makes perfect sense that NIL and the portal were going to disproportionately affect the most talent-rich conference, and that was the SEC. It really still is the SEC top to bottom, just not nearly as much as it used to be. He was talking, I'm not going to play it for you, but he was talking about like the Alabama teams he was on as a coordinator, the Georgia teams that he had just 5 years ago, and how they would completely, they would be able to practice totally differently. They'd be able to live total different lives from a depth standpoint than they can now. So yeah, I don't question that at all. I'm fine with what Kirby said. There's reality. NIL in the portal has impacted the depth situation in the SEC. It's spread out the talent more. It's spread out talent around the SEC, not just taking talent from the SEC. Because as many players as are being taken from the SEC, they're robbing the G5 ranks blind. So the SEC's doing it too. It's not just being done to them. My question when everyone talks about the redistribution of talent is that all? Is that the only thing? Is that the only edge that the Big Ten has? Because my opinion has been no. I've shared this with you for a while now. For a long time, the landscape of the SEC was that they did have talented and deeper rosters. And what that allowed them to do, for lack of a better term, is hire lazily. It's not that they weren't working hard, but they hired lazily. They hired with a significant slant towards value and talent acquisition of above and beyond X's and O's. And it was also really incestuous, as it still is in some cases to this day. And what I mean is not so much you getting hired based on merit, but you getting hired at various places around this league based on who represents you. Hey, do me one favor right here. Look down. Are you subscribed to the channel? If you are, thank you. If you're not, please click subscribe. It helps us keep the show free and free of corporate interference. All right, that's it for me. Back to the clip. I'm not talking about head coaches. I'm talking about the hiring practices of head coaches, because I think you guys would be surprised and in many cases extremely disappointed at how your tight ends coach got hired, at how your staff is being filled out. And you like to think there are these true nationwide searches going on, blind resumes, and we're pitting one candidate against the other, and it's a pure meritocracy. And it should be that way. And in the Big Ten, it largely is that way. And in the SEC, it has not been that way. And it sounds like a really stupid approach. It is, but it never got exposed in the previous generation because the rosters were so deep, it didn't matter. You had better coaching staffs maybe elsewhere, and the SEC running laps around them anyway, because the players, ultimately, when you have that many of them, erase a lot of inefficiency in your hiring. So that's the first thing that I think should be added on. And then the second thing, to go back to what Kirby said, this is a really, really good soundbite. The whole interview's available if you want to go listen to it. They kept pressing him, and he didn't have to be pressed because he had a lot to say. Here's something else he said that I want to touch on the other side.
Now, the other theory is, and this is one nobody likes to hear, is it's a lot of SEC coaches say this in my meetings. They say they don't have the grind we do. There's no way. They play 3 of their 9 games are hard. Their bottom 4 games are not our bottom 4 games. I'm going to play at Starkville and Vanderbilt's in my bottom 4, and I'm holding on to my butt to be able to play at noon on Saturday at Starkville and playing a good team who beat Arizona State, who goes and plays these other teams. So there is a theory that we're beating each other up, and it's like the intensity, and it wears you down.
There's a lot of validity to that. There's zero question there's validity to that. The schedules are harder in the SEC. The average SEC schedule is significantly harder than the average Big Ten schedule. Just, to me, it's a fact. And if you want to argue that, that's okay. I'm not really even going there. Here's really the question there. Even if you disagree with that, let's just accept it as truth for a second, for sake of argument. The follow-up there, and really the only key question is the cumulative effect of playing a harder schedule shaving off the top end of your potential as a team? Georgia, for example, is the schedule they play relative to maybe like the schedule an Oregon would play, is it really beating down the top end of your potential via injury and, just overall wear and tear to the point where you're not able to perform at as high a level in December as you otherwise would have been able to? The answer may be yes. The answer may very well be yes. What I'm saying is that's all that matters. Otherwise, you're just really good teams instead of great teams, and you're using your strength of schedule as a cop-out. So if the former is a reality and the latter is just something a lot of haters say, well, so be it. But it's hard to quantify it. It's hard to know how Texas would perform with Purdue's schedule versus how Texas will perform with Texas's schedule. It's always been the great unknown in college football and college athletics, but especially college football, because for some reason, true strength of schedule metrics, people fight incorporating them into the playoff selection process. So the thing about Georgia and Kirby Smart, regardless of where you stand on all that, you have to acknowledge the landscape has shifted right under their feet, and they're still right there. It's a testament to that program that the perception around them, around the country, is, they've fallen off a bit. They've won the SEC back-to-back years. They got put out 2 years ago with their backup quarterback in a playoff game, which has been totally whitewashed from history. It's like people don't even acknowledge it. It's just, you lost to Notre Dame. Yes, they did with their backup quarterback. Not that Notre Dame couldn't have beat them with Carson Beck. I just want it noted. They did have to play their backup QB there. That was really his first start. And then last year, they ran into Trinidad Chambliss. Played a classic against them down in New Orleans. Really the biggest takeaway, and the only thing Kirby needs to be focused on, is how do I avoid New Orleans for a playoff game? If they can just do that this year, maybe figure out wide receiver and just do that, they'll be fine. They'll be okay. We need to go see him, Jesse. Make some calls. We need to go see Kirby. Let's do it next week. You want to do it? Yeah, let's just do it next week. We'll go visit him next week. We'll go knock on the door. If they open, they open. And we'll ask him what he thinks about that.